everybody. Good afternoon to you. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. So, I thought we'd do something a little different for my channel. I normally cover foodie beauty, but I wanted to take a minute and do a react to a video that Beck did where Beck was answering questions that people sent to Mr. Snowflake on their behalf. Beck responded to the questions and was answering the questions that people sent to Mr. Snowflake. So this react is going to be more of a serious nature because of the topic at hand, the topic of abusive relationships. As everyone is well aware, Beck was involved in an abusive relationship with Amberlynn Reid that went on for quite a while, and Beck has decided to speak up about it. And Beck has come forward with some details that, in my opinion, are quite disturbing, revolving around the relationship with Amber. So, what did we find out a while ago? We found out that Amber was having Beck wipe her butt, even though she had the ability to wipe her own butt. In my opinion, that speaks of someone who is humiliating and degrading another human being just because they can. Abusive people, they will often test the boundaries of those that they want to hurt, that they want to control. They want to see how far back they can push the line. And Amber found out that she could push back the line with Beck quite a bit. And so she did. Do I think that she pushed those same boundaries with Wifey? I don't think she did. I think Amber is the kind of person that she talks to a person, she meets up with a person, and she slowly figures out what she can do and what she can't do. So since Beck was a laid back, easygoing kind of person, she was going to push the boundaries with Beck. So this react is going to be of a more serious nature. And thank you to Mr. Snowflake and also to Beck for answering the questions because it gives more depth to what's going on. And I also wanted to add my thoughts because I've been through a DV relationship. So I've got some insight from that. And I hope you guys enjoy the react. And for those of you that maybe you've gone through a DV relationship or something like it, that it might trigger you. If at any point you need to turn off the video, stop watching, stop listening because it's just getting to be too much, totally understand. But I just want to give my thoughts to the questions and the answers that Beck is giving. So we're just going to jump right into it. And I'm going to leave a link for the original video down below in the description. So please check it out. You can sub up to Beck. You can leave Beck a comment or a thumbs up if you wish. Let me just go ahead and share the screen. Let me tell you guys, I watched this last night and all I could do was just shake my head. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It was just that bad? Yeah, I guess it was that bad. Shame on you, Amber. That's all I'm going to say for right now. But I got a lot more to say as we get through this video. But shame on you right now. It's all I'm going to say for now. Let's do this.
This video is me answering questions from the video that Mr. Snowflake, or also known as Under the Hood, made for me to react to. I also want to thank Mr. Snowflake for getting these questions together for me and for making this video. Let's get into it.
Hi everybody. The other day I asked the community if they had any questions for Beck. I had loads of questions for Beck. Beck, thanks for agreeing to help with Victims of an Empath. Dead nicely, thank you very much. I'll read out some questions now from everybody. There's absolutely loads. I haven't included all of them because there is that many. Okay, right. Here we go. Questions for Beck. Has Amber tried to contact you after the breakup when everything was over? So she has no problem leaving crazy messages for people. And she was messaging Jade, Wifey, when she was told not to. So yeah. Has Amber ever tried to contact you after the break? I'll read the question, have a little pause. That's when I imagine you'll.
Yeah, she got a hold of me at one point to ask about a personal thing in my life happening. It was the anniversary of the death of my nephew, and I think she asked how I was doing, and I didn't answer to that. And then a little while after that, she asked if Kate Winslet had come out with anything new, and I didn't.
That part I found really weird because Kate Winslet is a channel on YouTube. So if Amber wanted to know if Kate Winslet did anything new, wouldn't it just be as simple as going to the person's channel and checking to see if anything new had been posted? The feeling that I'm getting from that is that people who are abusive, people who are controlling, sometimes they'll call you or try to call you or try to contact you. And sometimes the reasons are so lame and they don't make sense. Like whatever it is that they want, that's not what they really want. They just want to talk to you. It's really strange to explain, but if you're with someone who is really controlling, really manipulative, they derive their strength and their power from those that they control. And even when you walk away, they like to get their ego stroked or get reassurance knowing that they have some sort of control over you, some kind of influence. So they pull on the string that they feel is still attached to you. You know, let's hug on it to see if you will respond or you will give them the time of day or if the door is completely shut in their face. When it comes to abusive people, you have to shut the door in the face and lock it. You cannot open it even just a little bit, because even if it's just open just a crack, they will take advantage. And they'll try to see if that crack in the door can lead to a completely wide open door. So yeah, the whole thing with, has Kate Winslet posted anything? Amber, if you wanted to know that, all you had to do was just go to the person's channel and check. So why are you contacting Beck about that? That's weird. Unless you really didn't care about that and you had ulterior motives.
Didn't answer that either. And I want to say that was around maybe the summer of 2022.
No question. I'm just happy she's happier. I'm assuming they know about Amberlynn and Reid and now dating a suspected feeder. Oh, I put this up 5 days ago. Oh, they're broken up now. I was ages ago. I'm wondering what was their reaction to this when they found out? Shocked, unsurprised, worried, or concerned? Curious to know any of their thoughts around this situation, please. I always thought she was much happier being with a feeder. Anyway, what do you think about that?
Am I shocked that Amber would want to date a feeder? No, I'm not. And her being with someone who is okay with the weight she's at or really okay with her gaining more weight would be the easiest type of relationship for her to be in. I don't really have anything to say about Emily. I don't know her, but I will say that I don't see how you can care for a person while participating in feederism with no concern for their health.
Well said. Well said, Beck. How can you be in a relationship with someone and watching them harm themselves with food and not speak up and say anything about it? Foodie and Amber, they have a lot in common. They are essentially the same with their mannerisms, with the way they do things, with the way they treat people. They are both liars, manipulators, controllers, abusive, predatory. I mean, the list can go on and on. Of course, it would make sense that someone like Amber, who does not want to take accountability or responsibility for what's going on with herself, is going to pick a partner that is going to help her lean into the lack of responsibility and accountability. Someone who's going to support her being unhealthy and also lean further into the avenue of, hey, you want to eat? you want to just keep on eating, tell you what, let's make some money off of that. We'll go on feedie sites and sell some videos to people and pictures to people. We'll rip some people off, which is what they did. And that's why a lot of people in that community are mad at them, because they got ripped off. And that's just a big no-no, even over there. But of course, she would pick someone like Emily to have around, because someone who is not a feedie, just an ordinary person who just wants to be in a relationship, just wants a girlfriend, they're going to get disturbed by the amount of eating, by the weight gain, by the health problems, and come forward and say, hey, this isn't right. Maybe you should take care of your health. At that point, Amber would have to be responsible, have to take accountability, have to have some sort of self-awareness. And Amber's not going to do that. And that's also the case with Foodie Beauty. Notice that she's only around people who don't make her take accountability, people who are accomplices, people who are enablers, people who enable her. If all they can offer is silence, they give silence. They don't speak up. They don't speak at all. They just let her do what she does without complaint. And that's good enough for Foodie, and I'm sure that'd be good enough for Amber. So it's all about attracting and keeping around enablers. So that's the whole system.
Hi, Beck. I hope you're doing well. It's so good to see you look so well and happy. You look incredible after that £600 LB lost. Well done. Well done.
Yes.
What was your reaction to Amberlynn about wifey Jade being two different people? Mental. How did you feel after she chewed you out, making some stupid joke like you always do? I think back on that live stream where she read that text to you out loud and then went whoopsies so often. It's so disgusting and vitriolic. Take care of yourself, Bex. I'm sure you know what it is. I'm not sure how much you keep up to date with now, so some of these I might have to explain. I'm not sure. Yeah, you on the phone where I said, tell Jade I love her too, something like that. You mentioned the name Jade. She panicked, ended the live stream. Next live stream, she made out that, oh, you were just joking about the name Jade, and oh, she told you off. Whoopsie. So what happened after that? Was she really angry when you said Jade?
I didn't know how anybody would not see through that, because it was so obvious that it was the same person. As for the aftermath, she was absolutely mad at me. She was seeing red. She completely blamed me for her being doxxed, said the whole thing was my fault, even though she had done the whole pointing her name out in the live stream and then naming the live stream after her thing.
Gaslighting. Gaslighting.
But she wasn't happy. Would Amber ignore you in real life and then make a video with you acting like she was such a good girlfriend? That's always how I assumed she was acting. I always got the feeling, sometimes got the feeling, when I'd watch a video of you two together, like something seems off. Wrong. But yeah, was she ever really angry, ever moody? And then the camera went on and then went, hi, girlfriend tag, everything's great.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. Like, there would be times that we would be arguing, having a disagreement or something, and then she'll be like, oh, well, I'm getting ready to film, so as soon as she would turn on the camera, it would be a completely different person.
And I imagine that's something that happens with Foodie as well. Like, there's the on-camera personality, and then as the camera is turned off, it's somebody entirely different. But there's always a feeling of, even though things are dark behind the camera, we've got to put a coat of paint on it when the camera is turned on. We've got to put on this picture of everything's fine. We're not fighting. There are no problems. I have no problems. Unless, of course, I want to reveal to the camera that I have problems, and only for the sake of profit. I'll talk about my lack of health or my health problems if it means I can monetize it. But no revealing of anything that I don't give approval to first.
Did she weigh more than 572.4 pounds? She's always said that was the highest weight. That was the highest weight she ever saw. Did she ever weigh more than that?
I honestly do not know what her highest weight is, and I don't even think that she knows really. But I do remember her weighing like 570, maybe like 580 something at some point. She definitely got more private and secretive about it after that, so I'm not really sure how much she ended up weighing.
Do you think Amber sometimes believes her own lies? Or if she was more able bodied, do you think she would have been physically? I think you answered that in a Karina video, I think. But do you think she believes her own lies?
I do think that she convinces herself that her lies are true because she wants them to be true. It's really hard to explain why I think that, but I feel like I've seen it happen.
Yeah, there again, foodie is the same. If I think something enough, or if I say it out loud enough, or I lie about it enough, the lie will become the truth. That seems to be the thinking with both the girls. If I tell this great big lie, if I tell it enough times to enough people, eventually it will be true. And this will be the real reality versus the reality that I'm making up in my head.
This person says, "Sorry, I have one more." I don't think I read out the other one. Sorry. What would Amber say about her lies when the camera was off? Would she try and justify it to you? Would she say nothing to you at all and pretend her lies were real?
I don't know of actual instances, but I know that there were times where she would be like, make sure you don't mention this or that, just to make sure that things were kept straight.
Did Big Al ever threaten to off herself if Beck wanted to break up with her? Did she do that with Destiny?
She didn't threaten to do that with me, but she did guilt me in other ways, like saying who would help her and who would take care of her, who would be there with her, if she would be lonely, that kind of stuff.
Manipulation at its finest. If you leave me, what am I going to do? I can't do anything for myself. Oh, that's manipulation. That is such manipulation. Just you're essentially trying to trap the person with you, guilt them into saying, if you're not here, I can't do anything. The pets aren't going to be taken care of. They're not going to get fed. What about Twinkie? What about the pets? What about the household? I'm going to be stuck here all alone. You're throwing a whole lot of guilt on somebody else's shoulders and giving them problems that are not their own and not their responsibility to take care of. Amber, you're a monster.
How did Amber treat the service workers she encountered when the camera was off? Waitstaff, cashiers, receptionists. Was she outright rude? Did she fake kindness then trash talk? What were the reactions of other customers? I've been watching videos from when you were with her, and she said people would laugh at her, people would mock her. She could see the stares. She'd be really paranoid about that. Now she makes out that every time she leaves the house, some guy's asking her out.
It definitely did seem like there were times she would fake kindness, but she wouldn't outwardly be rude to wait staff or anything that I could tell. But there were times where we did get stared at, and if they were talking about us, I tried my best to tune everything out so I didn't hear it.
Why does Amberlynn Reid insist on being chauffeured? Why won't she learn to drive or take an Uber? I'm going to put it down to laziness like everything, but I'll wait and see what you say.
She's terrified to drive, and I also think she knows that she couldn't fit behind a steering wheel or probably wear a seatbelt, and that's also probably why she can't take an Uber, is because she would be required to wear a seatbelt.
Did Amberlynn claim BPD when you were together, or did she still have ASMR?
What? She claimed to have ASMR. What? Never mind.
Does it bring you joy to see her rotten life spiral? I think it brings a lot of people joy to see her spiraling at the minute. I think she's crazier than she's ever been. Well, it's more obvious now. We can spot it. It's more obvious now.
No, she didn't claim to have BPD when we were together, but a friend of ours did mention it to me, saying that they thought that she had BPD or something similar.
Did Amberlynn Reid ever confess to you about her major wrongdoings / lies, e.g. the Casey SA, Gracie, grooming Libby, etc.? I don't know how much you're aware of now. A lot of people are calling her Diddy Lynn because of how she was around Libby and kids and other things. Did she ever confess anything like that? The SA stuff still baffles me.
No, she never confessed to major wrongdoing. She basically kept the same story that she had online with me. I only found out recently that Casey was a minor, and I didn't know anything really about Libby. I'd never met her or anything, but all I did know about it was that she was Destiny's friend and she was a teenager, and they had an adult friend who had a crush on her. And I told Amber that I thought that was weird, and Amber was like, yeah, but he was a good guy, which I don't understand how he could be a good guy and be flirting with a minor. The only other red flag I've really seen from Amber was she did have a crush on Billie Eilish when Billie was just starting out. So I think she was a teenager around then, which I told her was weird, and so did Eric and Ricky. But she said that she was almost an adult and that she acted older and looked older, so it was okay. I just really wished I would have dug deeper into these things and taken it more seriously, because they really are awful and it's unacceptable behavior. But I will always stand with victims.
She had sympathy for PDFs and she would argue with people about it. Sorry, I'm going on a little rant. And she said the reason she defended PDFs was because she was gay and she didn't want to judge people like she'd been judged. Then she forgot that and said the reason she had sympathy and stuck up for PDFs was because of what her cousin did to her. And she forgot that. And she said the reason she stuck up for PDFs and argued with people online about it was because of what her father's friends did to her. Yeah. It was because she was gay, cousin, father's friends. Anything on that? Because I think that's the worst stuff.
I just found out that she said that, and that's a disgusting comparison because gay people can consent, whereas children cannot.
Exactly. Like there's no correlation here between PDF files and those who are gay. There's no tie-in here, Amber. There's no tie-in here.
How did you feel when she said she did not have BED after using the binge monster as an excuse for so many years when she seemingly didn't get her way?
I thought it was hilarious because the entire time we were together, she always said that she had binge eating disorder. I don't know exactly why she said that she doesn't have binge eating disorder, but I will say that what I witnessed was that she would eat copious amounts of food. And whenever I wouldn't give it to her or she wouldn't get it, she would just be really upset and angry about it. And the binge monster would come out. And well, that's what she called it. It was actually just her kind of being a toddler about it.
Yeah. And if you have an addiction to food and you know you have an addiction, then you, as the addict, it is your responsibility to seek help for it. If you are aware, I have a problem, then it's on you to seek out help for the problem, whatever help you need, whether it's inpatient, outpatient, therapy, counseling, talking to people. You've got to seek out help for that. So it sounds like Amber was making all kinds of excuses and reasons to continue that which is wrong with her, and using what was wrong with her as a reason and an excuse to be abusive to people. Oh, I'm this way because I have this wrong with me. Well, you can have that wrong with you and not be abusive to people. Trying to use something that's wrong with you as a get out of jail free card, it's no. I've dealt with BED. I was never abusive to people. I never used it as a reason to be abusive to people. You know, someone using a disorder or an addiction as a free hall pass to be abusive or hurtful to other people, I'm sorry, it just doesn't wash. It just doesn't. Just because something's wrong with you doesn't give you a free pass to hurt others.
Does Ella have a burner Instagram account? She was Damon White, pretending to be Damon White to see what people said about her. And people have always thought she's got sock accounts and burner Instagram accounts. Was she just obsessed with like reaction channels back then and what the comments said and what this website said and what this website and what this person was thinking? Was she just utterly obsessed with it and going undercover to see? Oh man.
I'm sure she did, but Damon White is the only one that I know for sure of. And yeah, she was all over the reaction channels and the Facebook and Reddit and Kiwi Farm. She
sounds like Chantal. I told you the girls are very, very similar. They have nothing to do with their time, so they do nothing but search out what's being said about them. If they do a video or they do a live, or even if they don't, they're all over Reddit. They're all over Twitter. They are all over YouTube, looking for any little thing about them. They are such narcissists that they seek out what other people are saying, what opinions there are, what is the general feeling in the community. And sometimes they turn that into their content because they have no other ideas. So time spent the wrong way, doing the wrong thing versus the right thing.
check that stuff out all the time.
How much food did Amber actually eat throughout the day? I don't know why I put that one in there. I'm guessing a lot to maintain 500-600 pounds.
It was a lot of ramen. She ate a lot of ramen. She ate a lot of fast food. She ate a lot of junk food. Of course, she would have her normal breakfast, lunch, dinner, but she would always have snacks and stuff in between. So there would be times where she wouldn't, like, she would fast for a little while, but then she would, like, how you just go like 16 hours without eating, but then she would binge for the rest of the 8. She would just eat.
And that's not good. And that is not the way to handle BED. You don't sit there and basically starve yourself for days just so you can eat for 8 straight hours. That is not how you handle BED. Starving yourself will lead to a B moment. Absolutely. A big one, a huge one. That's not how you handle it at all.
Why does Amber claim to love Rosa Parks so much? Has she done any research about her or know anything else? Know anything else she did in the civil rights movement besides the one bus incident? I don't think she has a very good knowledge of history. So yeah,
No.
Why does Amber claim to love Rosa Parks so much?
I really don't think that she does know anything besides Rosa and the bus situation. I just think that she thinks it makes her look good to be interested in that.
Do you think
so? Amber trying to connect herself to Rosa Parks? What's the correlation here? That's just weird. That is so weird. How does Rosa Parks have anything to do with Amberlynn Reid? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I think Ham really had goals standing in the line went to be a girlfriend. She does now. Emily's over. She's got other people backed up.
I don't really know. Like, I never got to see proof of any of that myself. All I know is that's what she told me, and it does kind of seem that every time she ends up having a breakup with someone, she's automatically talking to somebody else within a few days. So,
well, in my opinion, I think one of the main reasons, Beck, that Amber is so thirsty when it comes to having a partner is precisely what she did with you. She's not really looking for a girlfriend per se. She is looking to find someone that she can turn into a caretaker, someone who might wipe her butt, someone who will do the housework, someone that will cook for her, someone that will care for the pets and run the errands and do the car repairs and be on camera with her. just do a variety of different jobs that she doesn't have to pay for. She can get a caretaker dirt cheap versus paying a real professional caretaker somewhere in the neighborhood of, say, 20 to 25 bucks an hour, which is what a normal caretaker gets. And that does not include cost for, say, someone taking care of the pets, the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, etc. Just looking for a Swiss Army knife kind of person to do a variety of tasks, and she's paying a very discounted price for that.
So I don't know.
What was the typical amount of time Amber set for visiting friends and family? That's one of the.
Now this is the part that's going to make me real mad, but I'm sorry, Mr. Snowflake. My apologies, sir. Let's go back.
Got to see proof of any of that myself. All I know is that's what she told me, and it does kind of seem that every time she ends up having a breakup with someone, she's automatically talking to somebody else within a few days. So I don't know.
What was the typical amount of time Amber set for visiting friends and family? That's one of the. I've never heard of anybody else doing that. Maybe other controlling partners have done that. I've never ever heard of it. I've never come across that before in my life. Jesus. It's such a bizarre behavior, and I'm trying to even imagine what Amber would view as an acceptable time. There you go. Yeah.
So the timer would be for when I would hang out with my best friends. We would go down to the basement and play games and stuff, and Amber would choose to stay up in our room, and she would set timers for when I would have to leave my friends and come be with her again. And then whenever it came to like seeing my family or leaving and going somewhere without her, she would give me a time, like a specific time that I needed to be back. And if I wasn't back by that time, then there would be an argument. So on average, when I would be downstairs with my friends, the timer would be about set for 30 minutes. And when it came to seeing my family or leaving in general, she would just ask me when did I plan on being back. And whenever I would give her a time, she would give me a time sooner than that for me to be back.
That part. Amber, you bitch. Are you serious? You have somebody living with you. They're doing a variety of jobs to take care of you. The cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, bathing you, brushing your matted hair, taking care of the pets, taking care of the car repairs, getting the groceries. And you won't even let Beck spend an hour with their friends in the basement playing video games? For all of that work, can't even have an hour with the friends. Just 30 minutes? Anybody who's ever played video games, then 30 minutes is just a warm up. What can you do in 30 minutes? Seriously. Most MMOs and most video games, you can easily just blow through an hour without even thinking about it. Blink of an eye, an hour is gone. But 30 minutes, a 30-minute break compared to the 24/7 round-the-clock care that you were getting. And then if Beck wanted to see their family for a specific amount of time, you're going to tell them, no, you have to be back sooner than that. You controlling freak. Abusive people like Amber, like Foodie, they pick a target. They isolate the target. That's one of the methods of control manipulation. I'm going to pick a target. I am going to zero in on them. I'm going to put them in my crosshairs, and I'm going to wrap all of the iron chains around them and keep them close. And the isolation has to do with the fact that they don't want anybody around that person any outside influence to threaten their control and manipulation. They don't want any outside voices getting in that person's ear, giving their opinions, that outside perspective of what they see and what they feel. They don't want anybody else saying, hey, this whole situation is messed up. You have no time for yourself. This person controls all the time and you're miserable. Don't you feel miserable? They don't want that outside influence in too much or too long to plant the seed in the person's mind of perspective. That person will sit back and say, you know, these people in my life, they're right. This is an abusive relationship. This person is abusive. What they're doing is wrong. People who are controlling and abusive and manipulative, they keep the chains on tight. They wrap them all around you until you are nearly suffocated to death. So they keep you close and they will isolate you. They will shove everybody else away from you. They will keep you away from family and friends as much as possible. They might even go so far as to limit the amount of time you get to make phone calls or visits. It's all about constant control, constantly just pecking on you, whittling away at your self-esteem, chipping away at it till there's nothing left, to where you don't even have the urge to get away. You don't have enough in you to get away. You don't have enough strength. You don't have enough thought. You're just a blank page. It's exactly where they want to take you. With their words and their actions, they rip the skin off of your bones and just leave a bare, raw skeleton. Then they know they got you. But that's ridiculous. 24/7 caretaker care. Not even an hour with the friends. And limited time with the family. Unbelievable. Amber, you are a monster. And you suck.
I love an empath, eh? Did Beck ever feel uncomfortable when Amber would openly flirt with Destiny?
It was just to a point where I would just agree with Amber when she would say, no, everybody's just seeing things. I don't flirt with Destiny. I love Dana. I can't wait till they get married, that sort of thing. No, I mean, I'd also detached myself at some point as well. So I didn't really care enough to argue with her about it, because she would definitely not like that I would disagree with the fact that she did show that she still had something for Destiny.
And I think that's horrible. That you're with one person, you're claiming that that person is your girlfriend, and you're openly flirting with your ex. That is such a mind screw. That is so emotionally damaging, hurtful, manipulative, mean. It is mean to be with one person, and the person that you're with knows that you were previously with another person, and then you openly flirt with that ex person and making it very obvious that you still have feelings for that other person. It's mean spirited. It's very mean spirited. It almost feels like, ha, I still have feelings for this person. What are you going to do about it? Nothing, because you're here with me and I control you. And where are you going to go because you don't have any money? You work for me. It's very mean spirited. It's manipulative as F. Like the games that Amber played with Beck. Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Beck, did you ever have a plan to leave Amber before you actually left? What led to making the plan if you did? Well, you did try and break up with her before, didn't you? And she said no, tried to turn it into a jokey thing. Did you have a plan to leave Amber before you actually left?
No, I never had a plan to leave. There were many times that I had tried to break up with her, but she would somehow find a way to stop it from happening by like saying that she would fix things and things would get better and we would get better. There was this one time that we had an argument on the way home and we stopped in the driveway and argued for a few hours in the car, and she just would not accept me trying to break up with her and would not let us go back in the house until I agreed to give her another chance to fix things and make things better.
Controlling. So they had an argument in the driveway, and Amber pulled a power move. Oh, we're not going to go in the house until you agree to stay here. That is such a bully power move. The way that Amber went about handling it. We're going to sit in this car until you agree to my terms. And my terms is this: you're not going to leave. It is about control, maintaining control. You are going to give me my way. You're going to do what I say in the way that I say it. Even though you have these feelings and you want to break up with me, that's not what I want. Because I'm not the one doing it and you're trying to do it because you're trying to do it. It makes it wrong. It's not what I desire. So we're just going to sit here in this driveway in this car until you buckle under and you agree to what I say. That is so wrong. It is so abusive.
In a now deleted vlog from Eric, I've never seen any of Eric's been deleted. I never caught them before. He was showing a product or something, and in the distance, if you turned up the volume and listened closely, you could hear some banging with someone yelling, "Let me in." We all know it was Amber, so I think my question would be, what happened? I haven't a clue about that one. Beck, I have no idea.
I have no idea what this is in reference to. Like, I have no memory of what this could be. But if somebody does have the footage, I would like to see it so I can maybe give my insight on what could be happening.
Did Amber really have cancer? I think so. Beck, over to you. I felt great when she blamed you for the cancer. I bet that was a shock. She did what?
I laughed so hard. I mean, when I got blamed for the cancer, I was like, dude, me, Eric, Ricky, my mom, my sisters, every single person in your life, even your own friends, told you, hey, you should go to the OBGYN. And she wouldn't. She would not go. So how was that my fault? But yeah, she did have cancer and she had to have surgery for it.
How do you blame another person for having cancer? How is one person having cancer another person's fault? Boy, Amber, you're just trying to find all kinds of creative, unusual, disgusting ways to be abusive to Beck. I'm going to blame another person for having cancer. It's their fault. No. Not Beck's fault. Definitely not. Definitely not. But just trying to put something that heavy on another person. Are you freaking kidding me? Step on all the Legos, Amber.
Crazy man. I don't have a question. I just want to tell them how incredibly happy I am for them. I see myself in Beck in so much that it physically pains me to see any of the old videos and the Amber put them through. To see Beck come out the other side on a better path feels good. I wish nothing but the best for Beck and to get everything they could ever want because they deserve it. Was it the Zachary Michael line of I hope you have the day you deserve? I like that.
Thank you so much. It's so raw, you guys. If you have ever been through something like that, I hope that you have come out the other side of it and are in a better place.
Can I say something to that? Beck, for all the things that I've learned about what you went through. I wish you all a healing and peace in the world. And for those who are wondering, when the relationship with Amber was over, why Beck didn't come forward immediately and start talking about things. If you've ever been in an abusive situation or around an abusive person, sometimes it takes a long time, depending on what you've been through and how long you've been through it, like what you've been subjected to, for the after effects to show up. Like, if you are the abused person, sometimes you are not aware of just how damaged you are or how what you went through has affected you. You know, and it takes a while to process the hurt and the abuse and just let it settle so you can get to a place where if you can talk about it. Sometimes you go through so much, you're so full of hurt, you can't talk about it. You're feeling it, but you can't express it in words. You're not ready to talk about it. It just hurts too much to talk about. But then when you're ready and you feel comfortable, then you find your voice and then you talk about it.
If you could go back to speak with your 2018-19 self, what would you tell them?
If I could go back and talk to my 2018, 2019 self, I would say leave immediately, run the other direction.
Beck said they wanted to be single for a while after leaving Amber, and they were. What made them realize that they were ready to date again when they met their current partner, who was beautiful, by the way? Congratulations.
I just feel like I was in a better place. I was going to therapy. I was taking medicine again. I had a job. Things were just, I felt better about myself and things just were going good. So I felt like I could again.
Was Twinkie, I want to know this one, was Twinkie actually sick during that one Vlogmas, or did Amber say that for attention or greatly exaggerate her issue? I'm sure you know about it. She came on camera saying, acted like Twinkie was about to die, but said there was no 24-hour vets, so she just left the situation. And then when everybody said, "You lie, there's a vet," she came on camera going, "Oh, it wasn't that serious." So, was Twinkie really sick?
This was during the year that I don't really remember a whole lot. So I went back and watched that video, and the way she described it sounds really awful. And I don't remember Twinkie acting that way at all. And Amber does tend to exaggerate things. So that's probably exactly what she was doing, because there definitely was a 24-hour vet close by, and I would have definitely taken her if she had been acting the way that Amber was describing.
So getting on camera, Amber, and talking about your pet being very, very sick. But yet, although you have someone in the house that if the pet is very, very sick, could take them to the vet and you didn't do anything, you're going to lie about that. You're a horrible person.
Were you aware of Amber lying to the audience about her hygiene, specifically in 2019? If so, did you have any thoughts on why she felt compelled to lie? Did the audience really pressure her in that way that she felt she had to, or was it something she felt within herself? By the way, I hope things continue to improve for you, Beck. Were you aware Amber was coming on camera, Ask FMs, saying, "Just get out the shower, just get out the shower, just get out the shower, just wash my hair, just wash my hair"? Were you aware she was doing that stuff?
I was aware that she was lying to her audience about showering, but I think it was because she was embarrassed and was just trying to keep up an image. But I did not ever look at her Ask FM, so I was not aware that she was posting that she had just gotten out of the shower and so on.
I want the details of the stupid FBI Frank story. And did Big Cherry really free bleed around the house for months? How long was she bedbound for? So a few things there, but the FBI Frank story, I'm sure you know about that, said the FBI got in touch, so eventually got in touch with her over negative comments on the internet. And the rest of it.
I have no idea about the FBI Frank story, really. It definitely wasn't my sister. Amber did come out and say that I wasn't the ex she was talking about, but I can't think of who it could be at all. For the next question, yes, she did free bleed, and for how long was she bedbound? It was over a year.
Did Amber ever hit you? Again, I think you answered that in a Karina. And did she smell bad? I'm guessing yes. There's only so much perfumes and candles can do.
She didn't hit me. I think that if she had had the ability to, she might have, because she would get really angry.
Ooh, what has been the biggest resource inspiration to your recovery from a... so glad you're doing better. We love you, Beck.
My biggest resource has been my family and my friends supporting me.
Do you feel like you were walking on eggshells with the big one? Did she physically hurt you during her binges? Where did you get the strength to realize the situation you were in and walk away? Was she really an avid reader? If you're here, did she fudge her weigh numbers? Did you ever want to say to Amber, shut up, for God's sake, shut up? I do the silly reactions to her sometimes, and I try and make them silly, but even I just go, shut up sometimes, because it's ridiculous. There's a few in there.
I was walking on eggshells with Amberlynn. She was really easy to upset, and it wasn't physical, it was very verbally attacking. I don't.
Yeah, sorry, Beck. Both Amber and Foodie, they are very verbally abusive. They love to be verbally abusive. That the words hurt. Words that they go through your soul, and they stay there sometimes as part of the control manipulation.
I don't know where I got the strength. I was just so fed up and I knew it could not go on any longer. Was she an avid reader? She did read, but she definitely bought more books than she ever read. Did she fudge her way in numbers? Yeah, she would sometimes. There were just some days that she didn't feel like weighing herself, so she would just make up a number.
I got to know if them, Eric and Ricky, ever S-talked Amber when she wasn't around.
I didn't know anybody who didn't, and I didn't know anybody who she didn't talk about behind their back either.
What sort of lengths would she go to keep up her lies? Any noteworthy moments of her trying to keep the mask from slipping during the live stream era when you broke up with her? The mask was off, and everybody. I think that's when I stopped showing any. But yeah, you could tell that's when that was her real self, and it was awful. So what sort of lengths would she go to keep up her lies?
She was always wearing a mask when she was recording a video, and she would try to make it to where anybody around her when she was filming wouldn't say anything that would make that mask come off. But during her live streams, you actually got to see a little bit more of who she is. I can't remember any specific times, but there were moments where she would be filming and she would nudge me and be like, "Don't say that."
Has Amber...
Yeah, it's Amber doing videos. Same thing with Foodie doing videos. When you're doing a video, you have more control over what's being said and what's being heard. You're not live interacting with people. When you live interacting with people, there are going to be questions coming at you. There are going to be comments coming at you that you can't prepare for. Can I see Amber and Chantal like putting on a mask for the camera? Absolutely. I think they both do. Whether it's doing a live or doing a video, you put on this mask of I'm painting this reality for the audience. And I'm painting this picture of everything's cool, everything's fine. Because as long as there's this coat of yellow paint on the wall and it looks all sunny in the room, you're not paying attention to all the darkness going on right in plain sight. But again, with the lives, that's a bit more tricky because you've got people in front of you. You don't know who's going to be approaching you. You don't know what they're going to say. You may have trouble handling the suddenness of it all. So again, like the real person behind the mask is more apt to pop out from time to time.
Really ever attended some form of therapy? And do you know if she had been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder while you were together? I've got a screenshot somewhere I showed it the other night where she's got posts saying, I was diagnosed. I've never been diagnosed. It's in my family, so I've probably got it. I've been diagnosed. No, I haven't.
She did go to therapy for a very, very short time when we were together, maybe a few sessions. But no, she was not diagnosed with BPD while we were together.
How did Twinkie...
That's because the girls, they're not interested in what their true hurts are. They have no interest in their health. They have no interest in finding out what all is wrong and how to fix it, because they're too busy making money off all of their hurts, whether it's a physical hurt, an emotional hurt, a psychological hurt, an emotional hurt. Every bit of pain is profitable. Every bit of pain is up for sale. And they'll put it into a video and they will sell it to the audience. It becomes content. It becomes a talking point. So if they got rid of all the hurts, or they got things to a manageable level to where they could say, I'm doing good today. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. What would they talk about? If you take away the hurt and you take away monetizing the problems with food, what would there be to talk about with Foodie and with Amber? There really wouldn't be much. And they are both women that they've come on YouTube and they depend on the YouTube income. So the concern for content is always there. Even if they have to use the same pains and the same hurts over and over and over again, which they do, they're going to monetize them as long as they can. They're not interested in bringing anything new. It's all about monetizing what is there and what remains.
Act around Amber. Was Twink scared of Amber? We know, of course, that Beck was the one walking, feeding, caring for the animals on camera in live stream era. It seemed like Twinkie hated Amber but loved Beck. What were the animals like when she was on the binge monster? Man. When she was shouting, when she was kicking off, when she was being horrible. I bet the animals were scared.
I don't think that she was afraid of Amber, but I definitely do think that there were times that she preferred me. When the binge monster would come out or when she would be yelling, the animals didn't like that, so they would leave.
Of course, because animals pick up on energy, same as people. Animals, pets, they can pick up when you got bad energy, when you're angry, when you're upset, when you're sad, and they respond in kind. They might come and cuddle up to you if you're feeling sad and you're crying, or they might stay away if you're extremely angry because it's scary for them. So I can see how Twinkie would maybe go to Beck for comfort and protection once Amber got started.
Looking back now, did you ever notice or clock Amber looking or talking about PDF type of things?
The only thing that I can think of is her Billie Eilish crush that she had when Billie was still under 18.
What was the final straw that made you end things? And what would you say is Amber's worst trait that you didn't believe until it was over?
I've already answered this in Karina Kaboom's Q&A, but basically we had an argument because she was pretending to be me in text messages to our friends, and that started a big, huge argument, and I went and spent the weekend with my family and just decided that I couldn't continue anymore. I would say that Amber's worst trait was how mean she was to me and how she would pick on me. And I didn't see that until we had broken up and I was watching old videos back.
I was in.
Wow. What a control freak Amber is. Why would you do that, Amber? Why would you pretend to be Beck in messages? Like, what was the purpose of that? What were you doing? What were you doing? Oh my God. So it wasn't enough that you had Beck running around doing all these jobs unpaid, absolutely unpaid. You were limiting Beck's time with family and friends. No. You're going to like get into the text messages and pretend to be Beck? Seriously? People like you and Foodie are so suffocating. You're so awful.
In an abuse relationship with a narcissist before, and one day it just clicked, and I realized I was relieved to not have to see him. What was the moment that made you go, I don't want to be around her anymore? I have to get out of this, because that moment is a total game changer.
There wasn't a specific one moment, but there had just been so many different things that had happened and things just snowballed. And then we had that big argument. And then after that, I left. And then I did feel that sense of relief that you're talking about.
I would ask, did you truly not care about her size when you first started dating? And did you ever get frustrated talking to her because of her lack of education and vocabulary?
I was shocked and alarmed whenever I first met her and realized her size, but I wasn't trying to be judgmental about it. It wasn't that I would get frustrated, it was more amusing than anything. And the only thing that was really frustrating would be when she would think that something was right when it obviously wasn't. So either I would have to Google it or she would have to.
I have a question for Beck. Since, Beck, you said that you were shocked by Amber's size, was it because Amber lied to you about her size? Maybe she said that she was a certain weight or a certain size, and then perhaps you met her and found out differently? Because it kind of sounds like that. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the way things went, because Foodie has done that to people also. I believe that she did that with Salah, that when she was talking to Salah, that she was just sending filtered pictures and doing filtered lives on her filtered phone. And Salah really didn't get his first look at Foodie until she came in person to Kuwait. So it kind of sounds like maybe Amber lied to you about what she weighed, perhaps, or her size, and you didn't know until you two officially met.
I don't remember if you told us or not, but what was the incident that caused your family to intervene? Never heard of a family intervening for that. Never come across it.
It was a lot of different things, but whenever my family started seeing less of me, they were concerned.
Were you
And this is why people who are abusive and controlling, the abusers, they want to keep you in a very tight circle with just them. They don't want outside influence. They don't want family, friends, co-workers, any voices that they don't have control of getting in your ear and influencing you and changing your way of thinking. They want one way of thinking. And the way of thinking is they want the focus strictly on them. They want full control. They want to verbally batter you, abuse you, manipulate you, control you, tear you down, then build you back up the way they want you to be. They want a robot. They don't want a person. They want you at their command, doing what they say without complaint, without any back talk. And if there's any outside influence, that might lead to back talk. That might lead to sass. That might lead to you, the person who is the target, having those thoughts of I should leave. I should get away from this person. And that's not what an abusive, controlling, manipulating liar wants.
ever embarrassed walking around while she was on a scooter and asking you to take her pic for a thumbnail? So victims. You had to see how big she clearly was and her dumb laugh acting all smug.
Yes, I was extremely embarrassed when she would have me take pictures of her on the scooter for thumbnails. The whole hanging out with her in the scooter, walking around Walmart for hours was embarrassing enough. But it wasn't the scooter that was embarrassing, because I've walked around Walmart with other people who were riding scooters. And what was embarrassing about it was that the cart would be full of stuff, but then she would have me go get a new scooter when the scooter she was on would die. But I would have to ride it back to her and then switch all of her items over from the dead cart to the one that worked. And she would just ride off and keep shopping and leave the dead scooter where it was sitting.
And that is so inconsiderate. Not of you, Beck. That is so inconsiderate of Amber, because scooters have a weight limit. Obviously, she was over the weight limit, and she would ride the scooters until the motors would burn out. But she was the reason why the motors would burn out. And then she would have you go through all this trouble of switching the groceries over to another scooter when she was the one who should have been doing that. She should have at least gotten up and tried to help you at least a little with that. Again, abusive. And this is pushing back the boundaries. Let's go into a Walmart and get on a scooter. And then when I screw up a scooter and burn out the motor, I'm going to have this person who is my partner run around and do all these things for me, even though I should be doing them. Like, that's, let's see how far back we can push the boundaries today.
Has she been physically abused with you or admitted to being abused with other partners? I'm guessing she didn't. Although she admitted to Casey that she hit Crystal.
No, and I just found out about her admitting that to Casey, and I had no idea. I'm shocked she admitted to anything, because she really doesn't like taking accountability.
I'd like to know.
I have a question, though. I mean, this is one that I would like to ask Amber, because there's something that I recently found out. According to Amber, her growing up, she saw abuse in the home with family members. That's according to Amber. So how do we get here? When you're someone and you're growing up and you witness abuse, you witness hurtful behavior, and then you turn around and you hurt another person. I would think the opposite would be true. Like, if you see abuse of some kind happen around you, then wouldn't that make you more of a sympathetic, empathetic, compassionate person? You don't want to hurt anybody. How do we go from I witnessed abuse and it was horrible to I'm going to be the person to hurt other people, to lie to other people, to control other people, to manipulate other people and justify it? Why? Just because I have a YouTube channel and I've got money, and I'm going to sucker people into a relationship when it's really not going to be a relationship. It's going to be a situationship where my partner, whoever that poor sucker is going to be running around doing all kinds of jobs unpaid. And not only am I not going to pay them, I'm going to control them to the point where they can't even spend an hour with their friends playing video games. And I'm going to tell them when they can and cannot spend time with their family. Like, how do we get there, Amber? How does that happen? How do you go from being someone that you witness abuse to being the abuser yourself? I can't relate. I don't understand.
Know if Amber had her lie about anything. Stupid Destiny. Phone calls, test results, surgeries, diagnoses. I'd also like to know if Amber was ever physical with Beck. She was when she was outed as being physical with Jade as well. Sorry, yeah, physical with Jade. Destiny outed her with the code red, and we know about Crystal and Casey. God, it's a proper pattern, isn't it? It's hard for me to imagine Amber's song would change with Beck. I'd also like to let Beck know I'm so incredibly proud of you, sweetheart. From the bottom of my heart, you can hear in your voice how much better you sound mentally, and it's so refreshing to hear. I'm so glad you're doing so much better.
I don't think I can remember of any time that she would have me lie about phone calls or test results or surgeries or diagnosis. There were times that she would have me lie to friends and family and stuff about things that she would say about them. I have said this before, but I do think had she been more mobile, she probably would have been physical with me. And thank you so much for the kind words. It really means a lot.
My
So that's interesting. That's an interesting observation. And you're probably right, Beck. I mean, who would know better than you? So Amber has a history of getting physical with her partners, very physical. And I think that you're right, that if Amber had been more mobile, more independent, able to take care of herself, she might have been tempted to be physically abusive with you. But being someone that she's a control freak, manipulative, a liar, knowing her own limitations, knowing all the things that you did for her, all the things that uh, did on a daily basis, like in her conniving little mind, the wheels were turning and her thinking, well, if I put my hands on this person, there is a great chance that they may take off. And then what am I going to do? I don't have a backup caretaker, situationship girlfriend. So maybe I ought not to do that. It's pretty freaking sad. If the only thing that kept Amber from going after you that way is because of the limitations she's put on herself. Not that I would want you to be physically hurt by Amber, Beck. I don't wish that on anybody, but I'm just saying it's for most of us, we would never think of putting our hands on another human being ever in that way. And yet Amber's done it. She's done it to other people. And the only thing that stopped her from doing it to you was the fact that she just stopped and she paused and thought, well, because I have essentially made myself housebound, I ought not to do that, because the hurt that I cause another person, they're going to be greater hurt for me. She was more concerned for herself than she was for you.
question is, did Beck ever feel that there were times when Amberlynn would sabotage them when it came to food, meals, or weight loss?
I'm not sure if it was sabotage. We would start a diet and she would immediately want fast food, so it would set us back. When I was trying to diet on my own and she would not be dieting with me, I would have that constant temptation around me, so I would just give in to it.
Has Amber ever admitted to lying about the Reid and Petals eavesdrop situation? Accused Casey of grape. And then did a slam poetry reading about it. Did
No, she's never admitted that to me, but I don't think she would ever admit something like that to me, especially if it made her look bad.
I'm so
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard about you, Amber. I heard what you did. Falsely accusing somebody of something like that, of SA. That's what I have to say to you. You know what? I'll give you a special 2-for-1 special on that one, biatch. How dare you? You suck.
so curious about how much Beck and Amber were recognized in public. Did people approach either Beck or Amber often? Do people approach Beck now?
Yeah, there were plenty of times that we got recognized out in public. There were plenty of times that people would come up to say, "Are you Amberlynn? It's nice to meet you," but there was nobody flirting with her or anything like that. And as for do I get noticed or approached now? No, it's only happened maybe once or twice in a year.
For Beck, have you ever seen her hit any of her pets? But did she ever, do anything like that? Anything like that with the pets? Did she ever clean the litter boxes?
No, she did not hit the pets. And no, she never cleaned the litter boxes. I always did that. Whenever we first got together and I would visit, there was this room upstairs where the litter boxes would be, but it also had an extra bed in it. And the litter box was just it needed cleaned so bad that there was feces on the bed and on the floor.
Please could
Why have pets if you can't properly care for them? Am I too logical over here? Why bring a pet into your home if you can't properly care for them? And even if you can't physically yourself care for your pet, you can't get up and change a litter box or put down cat food. There's always a way. There's no excuse. If you're someone and you need help, physically, maybe you can't get out of bed, maybe you're sick, maybe you just can't get out of bed, period. That's when you start making some phone calls. Especially if you're someone like Amberlynn Reid and you're making that Amberlynn Reid money. You can call someone, make arrangements to have somebody come by your house and do pet care. If there's nobody there that will do it, can do it, you start making some phone calls. A family member, a friend, or just an ordinary person that may need a job, want a job. Say, hey, I'll give you X amount of dollars to come by once a day, twice a day, fill all the food bowls, clean out the water bowls, clean out the litter box. I'm sure somebody out there would have gladly taken the job position. There's no excuse for a full, nasty litter box. That makes me mad because nasty, dirty litter boxes, y'all, can lead to some problems for cats. It can lead to nasty, painful UTIs. And those hurt. Anybody that's ever had a UTI knows that. Imagine what it's like for a pet. If you can't care for the pet yourself, and if you're not willing to find someone else that can care for the pet on a regular basis to where everything is taken care of, you shouldn't have them. Period. Like, the kindest thing you can do is realize that you don't have the ability to care for the pet, or maybe you don't want to pay for the care, and find other owners for those pets. At least be that kind. Just realize your limitations and realize that your pets deserve respect, and give them to people that can do all the things that are required.
Could you describe a typical binge monster episode for us?
She would beg. Sometimes she would just be like, please, please, will you go get me this or that? It would just sort of turn into like a guilt trip. Like, why don't you love me? Why don't you want me to be happy? And she would just kind of be a bit of a bully about things if she wasn't getting her way.
Using emotions, using it like an emotional connection and a relationship as leverage to control another person, to bend the other person's will. Oh, if you love me, you'll do this for me. And if you don't do it, you don't love me. That is so emotionally gross and manipulative. I'm having a moment. I need food. So I'm going to just reach into my toolbox and grab out the emotions and use those as tools to get my way. Yeah, people like that are just, they're no good. They're no good. They have all kinds of awful, evil tools in their toolbox that they use to screw around with other people.
What was the dynamic when Wifey moved into the apartment? Did she do anything to help the household, or did she just pacify Amber?
Before Wifey moved in, I stopped staying at the apartment and my stuff was just there. So I really don't know what it was like around there all the time. But I do know whenever I would come back and like periodically get my things, then I would sort of see how things did work with between Wifey and Amber. But Wifey was usually just on her laptop working and stuff. So there wasn't, I didn't see her do a whole lot, except for she would take Twinkie out. She would walk her. I did see that.
When did you realize that Amber was not the victim, but the cause of her issues? Yeah, I remember in the very beginning, you saying you saw lots of hate comments, negative comments, and you thought she can't be that bad. Which is nice of you to look for the good and think, no, come.
I'm sure I started seeing things right away. But I think it was periodically over time that things built up and I started noticing more of like when people wouldn't stay in her life. You know, she was always the common denominator, and how she would say that she wanted help with mental health or weight loss, but then she wouldn't get it. I started to realize that she was the one that was standing in her own way.
I want to say something about that. There are people, excuse me, those of you that have never been in an abusive relationship, and I hope none of you ever get in one because they're awful. One moment. Pardon me, I'm so sorry. One thing I can say about an abusive relationship, most of the time, if not all of the time, the abusive person in question, they won't show their true face right away. They won't show how full on abusive they are. When you meet them, you're meeting their better improved, well-behaved representative. They'll put on the good manners. They'll put on the smile. They'll put on the charm. They'll put on having good qualities. They will hide their true self away for quite a while. You know, like they're charming you in. They're luring you in to become attached to them. Because the more attached you are to them, the more control they can have over you later. So they're going to put on a smile and they're going to act as nothing's wrong. I'm a really nice person. I'm really great. You should be with me. You know, they're waiting for really strong attachment to happen so they can use it against you and twist you up like a pretzel with it later. They groom you into the abuse. It happens little by little by little, baby step by baby step. They don't just go full on right away. You know, it may start off as something small, you know, with arguments. They start calling you names. The name calling might start. Insulting you. They may learn things about you, personal things, painful things, things that may embarrass you or humiliate you. Everything you tell them, everything that they're exposed to about you, they'll find a way to turn it into a weapon to hurt you over and over and over again. And God help you if you let them do anything for you. If you borrow money or they buy something for you, that becomes a weapon too. Because then you got to hear, look at all that I did for you. Remember when I got you this? Remember when I bought you that? Remember when I bought you dinner? Or I paid for this? Anything that they do for you, they log into their brain. That becomes a weapon. That becomes leverage. And they'll swing that sword on you multiple times. So they'll groom you into the control and the manipulation and the lies slowly. And you might find out some things here and there about who they are and start putting things together. By the time you find out a lot, it's usually too late. They got you where they want you. And they put you in a position where maybe you can't escape right away. Maybe you don't have any money. Maybe you don't have another place to go. Your options are very few. About if you leave that person, if you leave the home, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I don't have a job. I don't have money. And that's on purpose. It's on purpose. They put you in that position because they don't want you to be independent. They don't want you to be independent minded. They want you under full control. So they're going to make sure there's nothing independent about you, not even your mind. They want to control your mind. They want your every thought to be of them. They want the power to hurt you over and over again. And they'll take away your shoes so that you can't run away. So that's how it works. Abusers will never show their true face. Not right away. Maybe not for a long time. Not until they feel they have full control of you and you're essentially stuck. Let's go back to the video.
What happened during the infamous night when they shared a house with Eric and Ricky? Everybody got drunk and suddenly everybody needed a change and moved out. Oh, yeah.
I do remember that night that we drank and played Cards Against Humanity. We didn't fight that night, but there were times that we fought all the time. So there wasn't a fight that night that caused everybody to want to move out. It was just buildup of Amber wanting to move out over time because she was not happy living there.
I would ask Beck, when living with Eric and Ricky, did they ever mention or say anything about how Amber was treating you? That era is hard to watch. It's hard to edit. Oh, man. Because of how miserable Beck looks, and then the fact that Beck's family had an intervention. But Eric and Ricky still stayed friends with Amber.
Yeah, there were times where they were like, especially when she would set the timers and stuff, they would be like, this is ridiculous. We don't understand why she does this or why you put up with it. There were other times where they just wanted to stay out of it. I have no idea why they stayed friends with her after I stopped being friends with her, but I know that they said that they thought that she had changed at one point, but then they had another falling out with her. And then after a little while, they started talking to her again and visiting her. So I'm not sure what happened after that either.
I have a feeling why Amber wanted to move out from Eric and Ricky. Outside influence, outside voices, other pairs of eyes that she could not control. Again, abusers like to isolate their targets. They just want themselves and the person who is the target. They don't want anybody else around. They don't want anybody else witnessing or hearing about what goes on. They don't want witnesses to the hurt and the pain they cause. They want to be able to cause the pain and nobody else knows about it. Nobody else can talk about it. Nobody else is going to talk about it. So in my opinion, I feel that that's why Amber wanted to move out. Because Eric and Ricky were there. They were outside eyes and voices, and obviously they had feelings about what was going on. They were talking to you, Beck, and making comments about, like, why is Amber treating you this way? And the timer thing is really ridiculous, which they're not wrong. It was ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But that's what I mean. Eric and Ricky were not under Amber's control. I'm sure that bothered Amber. She wanted full power over you, to do what she wants, to say what she wants. You wouldn't be focusing on anybody but her. It's a control tactic.
What happened after the camera was turned off? Who's the one who's been wiping your ass live stream? Oh yeah, God, I don't even think I thought about that, man. When you whispered to her who's the one who's been wiping your ass, she didn't look happy. What happened after the camera went off?
She was really mad about it. She told me that her audience is never going to let her live it down. And I think she told me to lie and say that I was just joking about it, but I'm not entirely sure.
We've got a question from Jimmy Bunker, who you don't know who Jimmy is. He helps with the channel. He's one of my few friends. He's very nice, and he likes it. And he says, "What's your favorite anime? I'm a huge fan of Full Metal Alchemist." You'll know what that is, Beck. I've not got a clue.
I have a few different favorite animes. I like Demon Slayer, and I like Ranking of Kings, and I really like Attack on Titan. And I have started a Full Metal Alchemist, but I'm not in it very far.
Ask about the timer. Like, how did that even happen? Or another part of me is like, what did Amber expect to happen when Jade moved in? and Beck was still there. Yeah, how did the timer thing even come about?
The timer thing started whenever I was wanting to go to the basement to hang out with our roommates and play video games. And Amber was invited to go along too, but she didn't want to go. There were plenty of times that she had been down there before, but this time she decided that she didn't want to. So she thought for it to be fair, she would allot me a certain amount of time to go down there by myself. And whenever the timer would go off, I would hear it, and if I didn't hear it, she would send me a text message and say that the timer is done.
Are you serious? Amber actually set a timer? Like, oh, you hear the timer go off, it's time to go. Really, Amber? Really? Really? So you mean to tell me, Amber, that it wasn't as if Beck was isolating you from everything, telling you couldn't come down to the basement and be a part of things. You decided on your own that you did not want to be a part of things because maybe video games are not your thing, which is fine. But even if they weren't, you could have gone down the basement and hung out with everybody. Because it was an activity that you yourself did not enjoy, you're going to stop somebody else from enjoying it. You're going to cut off somebody else's fun just because it involves something where all eyes were not on you. Bitch.
Did Amber ever express to Beck any, I don't know the right words, did she have any kind of self-awareness during her bedbound livestream era about how physically disabled she is, and did she ever have any care for how Beck was gonna be able to cope for that? Did she have any self-awareness for her making herself disabled, and did she have any care for how Beck was gonna be able to cope? Because that must have been very demanding.
She did talk about it, so it did seem that she was self-aware, but she didn't want to put in the effort to make a difference and change the situation. And no, I don't think that she cared or thought about how it would affect me.
Of course not. I'm going to put something out there to all of you. So this is a while ago, mind you. Like, I looked up, like, in the time that Amberlynn Reid has been on YouTube, how much money has she made on YouTube? Y'all ready? Over $1 million. Over $1 million. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. And honestly, how much money do you need to change your life, to get healthy, to take care of yourself? You don't need $1 million. You probably don't even need $500,000. There are people out there improving themselves with not much money at all. They just have a lot of willpower and determination, and they've said to themselves, enough is enough. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I am sick of being unhappy. I'm going to just crush this, and I'm going to find some happiness because I deserve it. Amber had the money. She had the time. She had the ability. She had the energy to improve herself. But she didn't want to. She wanted this toxic system of, I'm just going to place people around me that will take care of everything that I don't want to because I'm too lazy. And I'm going to overwork the crap out of them. I'm going to sucker them into a relationship, which is really not a relationship. It's a situationship. And the situation for them is not going to be very good. It's going to be exhausting. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be sad. It's going to be depressing, but I don't care because it's not my pain. It's theirs. I'm just going to sucker people into a relationship with me. I'm going to get a discount caretaker, a pet carer, errand runner, grocery hauler. I'm going to get that person to do all those jobs. And I'm going to be mean to them, and they're going to put up with it. I'm just going to saddle someone with all that responsibility and all that weight because I don't want to take care of myself. Just imagine, y'all, $1 million. Couldn't be bothered. Could not be bothered. Rather than take care of herself, be a complete problem for someone else, make someone else miserable, be abusive, be controlling, lie, set timers on the time that they get to have fun. Awful.
Ever worry about the possibility that Amber's health would decline even further and that she'd get even bigger, and what they might have done had that been the case?
Yeah, I did worry about her getting bigger and how it would affect things, but I felt very powerless in this situation.
Oh no, I'm sure there was one more I just saw earlier with that. I asked the question before, but thought of another one. Does Amber really keep her old phones? I don't think I did ask this. Or does she have a second phone, one for YouTube and one for burner accounts?
Yeah, she had 2 phones. She had gotten a new phone, and then she had her old phone. She would use her old phone for vlogs and live streams and stuff like that, and then she would use her new phone for other things, but I'm not sure exactly what she would use it for.
Thanks for doing this, Beck. For reacting to the video. Thank you very much. And I'll keep you updated on victims. Yeah, if like I said, there was so many questions. If you want to do another one of these, there's more questions to go. Give me a shout, like I say. Thank you very much, Beck. Thanks everybody for watching. See you in the next video. Thanks everybody. Thanks, Beck.
And that is all for this video. I want to thank Mr. Snowflake for getting all of this together for me to respond to. And I also want to thank you guys for listening and watching. I know that this was a longer video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.
Well done, Beck. Well done. And I'm just really disgusted with Amber right now. So disgusted with her. Timers on somebody playing video games. Telling them when they can go see their friends and family. Outrageous. I could say a lot more, but then I get in trouble with YouTube. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this react video. If you do, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. I'm going to leave a link for Beck's original video down below in the description. Please make sure to check it out and give Beck a like, a sub, a comment, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.